This is my 2015 Porsche Cayman. I've had this car just about 7 years now, and today we're going to break down why this is the perfect car for you to buy when you're in your 20s. You could forget all of the Audis, the BMWs, and any other car that you could think of. The Porsche Cayman is absolutely the perfect car for someone who's just looking to get started. Today I'm going to go over the cost to own something like this and why mine looks slightly different than normal Caymans. We're going to go over the reliability of the 2.7 liter flat six engine. And again, you could get a variety of engines here if you buy a Cayman. We're also going to go over the cost to maintain something like this. So I've had this car for over 7 years, and I can give an exact cost breakdown on what it takes to own something like this. We're going to go over some modifications that I've done, like this front GT4 bumper and a variety of things to make this car exactly what it is. And lastly, we're going to compare this to some other cars and see exactly what you're paying for. So to start, my car is a 2015 981 Porsche Cayman, the base model. So the base model means I get a 2.7 liter engine. It's just the entry-level car you could buy, at least in the Cayman and Boxster range for the 981. Now, in regards to the Cayman, there are a few models. I believe there's 986, 987, 981, and then there's a recent 718 model. In terms of buying a Cayman, of course, you could get cheaper models with the 986 or 987, but I think the 981 is the perfect sweet spot where you don't have to compromise on reliability, and you quite literally get the best generation Cayman there is. Now, why I say that is the 981 generation Cayman actually came with flat six naturally aspirated engines, whereas the 718, which ran from 2017 to I believe 2024, came with 4-cylinder turbocharged Porsche engines. Now, they are faster, but they're missing that soul and drivability and that sound that you really want from a Porsche, which I think the 981 generation has it perfect. So like I mentioned, mine is the 2.7 liter base model. It's the base Cayman. You could also get a Cayman S with a slightly different front end, but I'd say the biggest difference really is your engine. So the Cayman S, I think, comes with around a 3.4 liter flat six engine. So more displacement, more low-end torque. But honestly, for me at that time, I didn't have that much money. I was just looking to get into my first car. The Cayman S, I believe, was about 10K more. In hindsight, I should have bought the Cayman S, get a bit more horsepower, but I simply couldn't afford it, and this has done the job quite well. Now, I bought my car in total with taxes and all the fees in for about $65,000 Canadian dollars back in 2019 October. I believe the prices have gone down a little bit more, but have pretty much flatlined. So if anything, now is the perfect time to get into a Cayman. Now, in terms of ownership costs, there really hasn't been much that I've had to do to the car over the course of 7 years, apart from a few basics such as consumables. So you'll have your engine oil. Again, an oil change each year costs me about $250 with the Porsche tax, but I still think that's quite reasonable. So far, I have done a PDK service on the car. Again, it is a 2015, so almost 10 years old now. I think that was just something I should be doing depending on the car's age. And that was a bit pricey. I think that was around $2,000. I went ahead early on in about 2021. I wanted a sort of a GT4 touring look, and the best way to do that is to add the GT4 front bumper to your car. And I had this ordered, I believe it was manufactured in the US, but you never know with these things. But I had this ordered from the USA, got it painted by a local body shop, and the paint is absolutely pristine. One thing I would have done is put on some PPF, but I do have some rock chips, and it adds to the patina of the car for some people, but I'd highly recommend putting on PPF considering how low the car is. I also have H&R lowering springs on the car, which give me the perfect ride height that I want with that new front bumper. So on all four wheels, we've got H&R lowering springs that I installed also in 2021 that gave me that perfect sort of ride height. I've also got clear side markers, which you'll see on both sides. So usually these are orange by, I think it's the North American, whatever the frickin', what is it? transportation standard safety, whatever it is. They make them orange by default, but I opted in for a clear version, which I think looks better with the entire side profile of the car. Inside, from an infotainment perspective, I did add Apple CarPlay, so that was another $650 that I had to pay for. But again, it's 2025. You do want some modern niches to your car. But again, the car is 10 years old, so you have to do a few things to make it work. I also have a JL Audio amplifier and subwoofer in the car. I am an audiophile. I love my music, so that was a non-negotiable for me. And I've had that in the car for just about 2 years now, and it's working perfect. You'll also notice my rims. So I've got MRR rims, which I purchased off of Facebook Marketplace. I think they were around $2,500. They are meant for the 911, but they fit perfectly on the Cayman. But these wheels really added a nice touch versus where the car was stock, and I think it looked like a grandpa car. But also got the wheel calipers painted in yellow. Again, I don't have PCCBs. These are just basic steel brakes, but I think they look perfect on this car and really clean a lot of the things up. Also, while we're on the wheels, I do have, I believe it's 5 or 10 millimeter spacers on each wheel, just to make sure that fitment is absolutely perfect on the sides. Now on to my second point for the Cayman, which is reliability. In my 7 years of owning this car, I've quite literally had 0 issues with the entire car. I would say major issues. When I say that, I really mean, apart from basic consumables, there hasn't been any money I've been forced to put into the car. And quite literally, the only thing that broke down was an AC pulley bearing. So it's just a belt that connects to a bearing which runs your AC. That was a little bit worn out. So I had that replaced for, I think it was $1,700. Since again, it is a mid-engine car, and you have to remove a bunch of things, but whatever it is. It's a Porsche tax, and I was willing to pay it. And it was a very small fix. So apart from just brake pads, which I had done 3 years ago, a basic oil change, which I do yearly, there are quite literally, excuse the burp, there are quite literally 0 other costs to maintain the car. Of course, you'll have small things such as bulbs, or it might be a small electronic module that has gone out in the car that you might have to replace, which I still think are consumables. But again, you'll be able to get through that fairly cheaply. These things really don't cost much to maintain. Security just stopped me, and I had to move my car within the parking lot. So excuse the bad view. But talking about the engine, I do have the 2.7 liter engine. Again, still a flat 6, but not as much power as you'd get in the Cayman S or GTS. But overall, I'd say the engine also has had 0 issues. I bought the car just at around 7,000 kilometers, so 3,500 miles. I'd consider that pretty much new. I believe the previous owner was an older gentleman with a variety of cars, and he pretty much drove this on the weekend. I don't know why someone would want to keep a Cayman just in their garage, but it helped out for me. So I am the second owner and pretty much bought the car from when it was new. Right now I'm at 53,000 miles, and the car is still going, still super reliable, and I'm not facing any other issues with the car. Now, on to another reason of why I love the Cayman. As you may already know, the Cayman is a mid-engine sports car. So whereas a lot of the BMWs and Audis will be front engine, whether it's through a rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, the engine is still out in front, which doesn't really help for weight balance and overall drivability of the car. By having your engine right in the middle, you really get perfect even weight distribution, which lets the car handle like perfection. I've driven a lot of cars, and I'll be completely honest, and no bias here, but the Cayman is the best driving car I've ever put my hands on. Of course, that's due to the lowering springs that I have, and a few other modifications I've done to the car to get it how I want it to be. But so far, nothing else drives like a Cayman for me. You could quite literally be on the highway taking a turn at 120 miles an hour, and the car feels like it's glued to the ground, or be in an autocross session, or quite literally anywhere on any track, the Cayman will outperform anything it's put against, again, with the right engine. And if you had a little bit of more money, you could get into something with a bit more power, so a Cayman S or a GTS or even a GT4 or a GT4 RS. Again, cars that have better engines. I believe the GT4 RS actually has an engine from a 911 GT3, something that we've been dying for years, which is quite literally my next car, hopefully, fingers crossed. But with the right power in the Cayman, there is honestly nothing that comes close to this total package here. Another point we can't skip on the Cayman is daily usability. Right now, when you're looking at it, it looks like a complete sports car. You might think it's not usable for daily driving, but I've daily driven this car for over 7 years now. And that means quite literally taking it to and from work. I've driven it down from Toronto down to Austin, Texas, which was a 3-day trip, and the car had 0 issues. I've also driven the car down from Austin, Texas, all the way down to the Mexico border to watch the Starship launch. And again, the car gave me 0 issues. In terms of space up front, you get a large front boot, which again, you could fit in an entire carry-on suitcase, if anything. But whether it's your groceries, a suitcase, you're picking up a friend from the airport, there's usually no issues. Inside, right above the engine, thank you to the Porsche engineers for actually making it an open space. So you could put even more groceries, your golf clubs, if that's your thing. But quite literally anything you want, you could put into this middle space right over here. And moving on to the back, you still have this huge, large container, which is just more space for you to put anything into. Like I mentioned before, I did drive down from Toronto to Austin for my move down to the US. And you'd be surprised to know that my entire life was able to fit in this car. So I had garbage bags of my clothes up in front, my PC, quite literally all my tools and everything, and the car still gave me no issues for space. With that being said, I do love driving a sports car, and I'd be considered an enthusiast, but in the grand scheme of things, I think for anyone trying to use this car, no matter what age, you will not have issues with space or any sort of those other concerns. Another reason why the Cayman's perfect is simply because it's a Porsche. So Porsches are known to be extremely reliable and the absolute best driver cars until you start to get into McLarens and other things, which are quite literally unaffordable for me. But driving a Porsche, at least in your early 20s, if that's when you're looking to buy this car, is the absolute best decision you could make. If you're someone who's really into engineering and love German cars, I think the Porsche's the best thing you could buy. And if you're someone who wants a slightly flashy car, or you're in your 20s, you want to flex a little, even then the Cayman is the perfect car. And again, I'm comparing it to a BMW, an M2, or a variety of other cars that are in this price range. I don't think anyone else has that bang for the buck value as a Porsche does. And of course, with it being a Porsche, you really get to skip out on a lot of the depreciation a lot of the cars in this range really feel. So comparing this to a BMW, an Audi, or a Honda, well, I wouldn't say Honda, they hold their prices quite well. But this car, you could quite literally drive it, beat on it, and be able to sell it for just maybe 5,000 to 10,000 less than what you paid for. Sometimes it might even be less than that. But being able to drive these cars and sell them for a similar amount, if that's what you're into, every 2 to 3 years you'll get a new car, it still is a very good proposition for you. So to sum things up, in your 20s, you're looking to buy your first sports car or your first car. You're scared on spending a lot of money into something that might not be reliable or might sort of break down after a few years. You don't want something that's been handed down multiple times and won't function as it should. The Porsche is the perfect car for you. And that includes the price of the car, which is still fairly low compared to a variety of other models, the total reliability you get in this package, contingent on if it's a low mileage example or not, it still will be reliable. You also get true performance. So I believe it's easier, if not better, to drive a slow car fast. And that's exactly what you get here, either with the 2.7 liter Cayman, base Cayman, or with the 3.4 liter Cayman S. But being able to drive these slow cars relatively slow, but drive these cars fast is an experience that isn't available anywhere else. And if you think there is a better value proposition than a used Porsche Cayman, let me know down in the comments exactly what car you'd buy in this price range and why it's a better proposition versus a Cayman. But that's about it for me today. I wanted to do this short video because I absolutely love this car. Having owned it for 7 years now, I can't think of anything that'd be more reliable. I've got quite literally my early 20s in my life inside this car. I will never be selling it, only buying a new Porsche, which will probably be a Cayman GT4 RS. But thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.